This is where we tell you about fallen LEOs that have ended their tour of duty. The first officer that we're going to talk about is Police Officer Godfrey Red, Memphis Police Department in Tennessee, 49 years old. His tour was 15 years. Officer Red had succumbed to gunshot wounds sustained 2 weeks earlier while responding to a suspicious person call. Officers, including Red, responded to a business regarding a trespasser. Approximately 30 minutes later, the subject became engaged in an altercation with a citizen outside of a library. As Officer Red and another officer attempted to contact the subject outside the library, the man produced a handgun and opened fire on him. Red was shot and critically wounded before the other officer returned fire and killed the subject. Red was transported to the hospital and had succumbed to his wounds on February 18th. Several years prior to being shot, Red had been critically injured when struck by a vehicle on duty. He returned to duty after an extensive recovery period. He was a United States Marine Corps veteran, had served with the Memphis Police Department for 15 years, and is survived by the wife, 3 daughters, and 4 grandchildren. Moving on, we have Police Officer Christopher D. Fitzgerald, Temple University Police Department in Pennsylvania, 31 years old, a very short tour of duty, 2 years. Fitzgerald was shot and killed while struggling with a suspect. Um, he was patrolling an area when he saw 3 masked individuals in dark clothing standing around where several robberies had recently occurred. As he exited his patrol car to speak to them, all 3 fled. He pursued one of the subjects, began to struggle with him. The man produced a handgun, shot Fitzgerald multiple times. The subject then attempted to steal Fitzgerald's duty weapon and patrol car before carjacking a citizen several blocks away. Fitzgerald was transported to the hospital where he died of his wounds. The man who shot him was arrested at his home. The next morning, he was charged with murder of a law enforcement officer, robbery, a carjacking, and several other related offenses. Fitzgerald had served with the Temple University Police Department for 2 years. He is survived by wife, 4 children. His father had served with the Philadelphia Police Department as well, and currently serves as the police chief of the Regional Transportation District Police Department in Denver, Colorado. Moving on, we have a correctional officer, Jay Miller, had died from complications as a result of contracting the COVID-19. He was age 52, was at the Washington State Department of Corrections in Washington State, and was an Army veteran, had served with the Washington State Department of Corrections for 31 years, is survived by 3 sons. And finally, Detention Officer Kenneth Fowler. He was 52 years old, had a tour of 5 years. That was Patuxent County Sheriff's Office in Oklahoma. Officer Fowler succumbed to his injuries sustained on January 31st when he slipped on the ice in the parking lot going into the County Justice Center. The area was experiencing an ice storm when he fell and was transported to the hospital suffering from head injuries and hypothermia. He remained in a medical induced coma until succumbing to his injuries on February the 19th. He had served with the county sheriff's offices for 5 years, survived by his wife, daughter, mother, brother, sister, and 2 grandchildren. Every one of these certainly a tragedy. They all are, and our heart thought prayers and sympathies go out to them, their family, and the units they served with within the communities they serve. I'm Don McDowell. Support